Today, we're going to learn about figure drawing. Drawing the entire human body sounds like a really crazy thing and very complicated, but artists have devised lots of shortcuts to help us figure this out and do it quickly. One thing that we can do is simplify the body into parts that bend and don't bend. So if you've ever seen one of these guys, this is a figure drawing mannequin, you'll notice that parts that bend are signified by little balls, even in the waist area here and in the hips. We can use these types of shapes to simplify and draw any pose, even if it's just from our heads in our memory. When we draw it, it looks something like this. When I am first learning to draw the figure, I like to draw the joints in different colors. The first thing I start with is the head, the neck, the rib cage, the waist, and the pelvic bone area. If you look on a skeleton, the most flexible parts of our spine are the neck and the waist, because we can't really bend where our rib cage is or where our pelvic bone is. So if you start with those shapes, you have a great base to do lots of poses. So let's try it together. Today, all I need is paper and pencil. One thing I want to do is figure out what my pose is doing. If you have a pose in mind or someone's posing for you, that's great. What you want to do is start at the head, and then you want to figure out where the spine is going, because it's not always going to be in a straight line. So is it bent at an angle this way? Is it straight up? Does it curve around a little bit? And once you figure that out, you'll have a great base to begin. So I'm going to have this body bend a little this way. I'm going to start by making the space where my neck would bend here, my rib cage as a squarish shape, my waist as a squished oval, and my pelvic bone is twisting this way. You can make it swivel anywhere you want, as long as it's connected to some sort of joint that moves. Now I'm going to add shoulder joints and hip joints. From there, I can decide any angle that they go in, and all I have to do is create a rectangle or kind of a hot dog shape or oval shape to make those shapes to begin. These pieces can't bend. If you've ever tried to bend a bone in the middle, you'll know that that ends in pain. So make sure that you're only bending when it comes to a joint. I'm adding my knees and my lower legs. I'm going to bend this knee this way. And I'm just adding another oval for the foot. Often people make feet and hands way smaller than they actually are in life, so I like to oversize them, if anything. Adding my wrists and my hands. To start drawing a hand, I draw just a square, and then you want to think about where your thumb is. Your thumb actually starts in a different place than the rest of your fingers, so you're going to draw a thumb at the base of the square, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you've got a simple figure. You can go and outline some of the shapes you want to keep. You can add clothing and all sorts of details. Once you start to do this more and more, you'll notice that you may be able to sketch without the use of these shapes, but they're really helpful to come back to when you have complicated poses. You can also add some of my lessons on portraiture to the face. Just divide it in half this way. Depending on where the face is bent, you may divide it this way or this way, so you may have to alter where things are going. If you want, you can do an even sketchier piece. So let's say I don't want to mess around with shapes. Maybe I want to do the quickest possible pose. I'm going to catch somebody who's in motion. What you might do for that is you start with the head and the spine line, and then from there you build the line for where the shoulders are going and where the hips are going. And then do some scribbles. If there are lines that you don't like, draw some other lines that are darker. This is called a gesture drawing. Usually they happen very quickly, and they're full of energy and movement because your body is actually moving to capture it. So you can try either way, with shapes or with gestures. The most important thing is that you practice it and try lots and lots of different poses. If you can't see something, don't draw it. If things are overlapping, let them overlap. Don't worry about erasing lines. That's how you get better. Observe, 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 and practice. Try this out.